Welcome to Unsolved Until Now, where cold cases finally find their voice. Before we dive into today's haunting case, take a moment to join our true crime community by hitting subscribe. Every week we explore how modern forensics is bringing justice to decades-old cases. Don't miss a single breakthrough. Activate that notification bell now. Mansfield, Ohio, a city that holds on to its secrets. But in 2024, one of its darkest mysteries finally came to light, thanks to the persistence of the Mansfield Police Department's cold case unit. 1981, Ronald Reagan had just become president. Raiders of the Lost Ark topped the box office. And in a modest apartment in Mansfield, 18-year-old Debra Lee Miller was starting her adult life. She was like many young women in the early 1980s, independent, hopeful, with her whole life ahead of her. But someone in her own building had other plans. The apartment building seemed safe enough. Working-class residents, neighbors who knew each other, including a 25-year-old man named James Vanist who lived upstairs. When police found Debra's body in her apartment, they did what investigators did in 1981. They asked questions, they took statements, including one from Vanist, who admitted to having been with Debra but claimed it was consensual. And then, nothing. The case went cold. For 4 decades, Debra's family lived with questions. Her friends grew older, her killer walked free. But DNA doesn't forget. And in 2021, Detective Richard Miller of the Mansfield Police Department's cold case unit decided to take another look, partnering with DNA experts to re-examine the evidence. With advanced DNA analysis unavailable in 1981, investigators found something that changed everything. The evidence pointed directly to James Vanist. When detectives went to question him at his Canton residence, Vanist's reaction spoke volumes. He immediately sold his house and vanished, leaving investigators with even more questions. But you can't outrun your past forever. In West Virginia, Vanist's luck ran out when he was arrested for federal firearms violations. According to the Mansfield Police Department, this arrest would set in motion the final chapter of this decades-old case. That final chapter would be written in a Canton hotel room in November 2024. When U.S. Marshals and local law enforcement came to serve a warrant, the now 68-year-old Vanist made his last desperate choice. In the ensuing shootout, an officer was wounded and Vanist was killed. The DNA evidence was conclusive. After 42 years, Mansfield Police Chief Keith Porch announced they could finally close Debra Lee Miller's case. The department worked closely with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, proving that collaborative efforts can crack even the coldest of cases. This case highlights a disturbing pattern. Young women living alone, male neighbors, quick dismissals of suspicious behavior. How many other cases from that era deserve a second look? Modern investigators now know better. Every nearby resident needs to be thoroughly vetted, every statement cross-checked, every piece of evidence preserved for future technology. Debra Lee Miller was more than a case number. She was 18 years old. She had dreams. She deserved better than 42 years of waiting for justice. Today, cold case units across the country are reopening similar files. New technology and fresh eyes are bringing closure to families who have waited decades. This story reminds us that justice has no expiration date. If you believe in keeping these cold cases alive until they're solved, join our true crime community now. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and become part of something bigger. Every week, we uncover more stories of long-awaited justice.